mirroring were unable to actually get out of their homes and down into the council. So some of us turned back on the outskirts of Liverpool, having had interesting journeys even at that stage. So we do apologise that we weren't able to go ahead with the public meeting as we'd scheduled it, but we thought it might have been inconvenient for many of you actually trying to get here as well on that day. What we have done, therefore, is we have published all the Chair's report, which is in your pack today as a reminder of what happened in those 3 meetings. And we have also put on the website the answers to the 3 questions that were actually raised for that meeting. So those details have already been sent round. And I don't intend to cover those again today, because I mean they've now been for 2 months, I think, on the website, and answers sent to the individuals who raised the issues. So this morning, what we want to do is to give you a brief update in terms of the one meeting that did take place on the 17th of May. And at the moment we're organising, they are published on the website, but we're organising to get copies of those key messages for you. And we'll share those with you, and I'll talk you through some of those headlines before we end the public session. What we do have, though, are questions from John Grace. John, are you willing to come forward and ask? We've got 8 questions from you.
You can ask the questions if you prefer.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure if has everyone got a copy of John's questions? No. Could we try to make copies of those available as well, please? I will go through them, John, if that's the way you might need to do it. But I'll take time over that so people can hear the question. The first is, the LGA Wirral Improvement Board terms of reference state, every 3rd meeting of the board will be held in public to report on progress and take questions. However, the public are only allowed to stay for the first half hour of the 3rd meetings of the board. Can you explain why, seemingly in contradiction to its own terms of reference, that the board does not hold all of its 3rd meeting in public and only the first 3 agenda items? So that's a question from Mr. Grace. And the response that I would give to that is that we have the LGA Wirral Improvement Board has a public session every 3rd meeting in order to update members of the public on progress and respond to questions. These functions take only 30 minutes, depending on the number of questions, and allow the board to consider other items in the later part of the meeting. So that was question 1. Question 2 is, considering that part of its terms of reference, the Improvement Board is to endorse decisions which impact on political and managerial leadership arrangements, corporate governance, and improvements in advance of them going through Wirral's own decision-making structures, e.g. Cabinet or Council, and that it is a joint committee of Wirral Council and the LGA, can you explain why the Wirral LGA Improvement Board is not seen as a body covered by the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, specifically referring to the reference in that act to joint committees of a principal authority? Principal council, I beg your pardon. Is that? Yeah. The response is, the LGA Wirral Improvement Board meetings are not meetings of the council at which public functions are being exercised. Accordingly, the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960 does not apply. Moving on to question 3. It's previously been stated that the Wirral LGA Improvement Board is time limited. When it ceases to be at some point in the future, what will there be in place at Wirral Council to prevent a repeat of the circumstances that led to it being needed in the first place? The response is, the objective of the LGA Wirral Improvement Board is to monitor progress towards improvement, provide challenge and offer impartial advice. When the Improvement Board ceases, it will be because the Board is issues around corporate governance and effective oversight provided by scrutiny have been resolved. I'll keep going, there are 4 more questions. I hope I'm not boring everybody with one voice. Keep going. Question 4. Due to the scale and nature of the problems at Wirral Council that led to the creation of the Improvement Board, some did call, and still do, for a public inquiry. Can you explain the advantages and disadvantages of an Improvement Board compared to a public inquiry? Again, the response is, the LGA Wirral Improvement Board provides challenge and advice to Wirral Council on its improvement plan. The Council's improvement plan is derived from a number of critical reports that Wirral Council received in the past. A public inquiry would not resolve the issues identified and would be likely to only restate information from these reports. Question 5 is, one of the problems previously identified by councillors on the Corporate Governance Committee was a lack of member capacity to address the widespread corporate governance failings. Has Wirral Council ever thought of, or the Improvement Board ever suggested, carrying out a community governance review and creating parish community councils in the Wirral area? The response is that one of the developments derived from the review of corporate governance has been the creation of constituency committees. These committees, based upon the 4 constituencies of Wirral, provide councillors with the opportunity to make a real difference at the local level in the wards they represent. The first meeting of these committees are scheduled for September 2013. Question 6. The recent Wirral Council constitutional changes included a presumption towards openness and a consideration of human rights when reaching decisions. When other councils, such as adjoining Chester West and Chester, webcast their public meetings, what are the Improvement Board's views on Wirral Council's recent bans on filming of their public meetings, which led to negative press coverage and guidance seemingly ignored being issued by DCLG? The response? The Council's position on filming is set out in the Council resolutions of the 12th of December 2011 and 17th of December 2012, in which the Council confirms its general consent to the filming of Council committee meetings. The Council's position is consistent with the guidance issued by the Secretary of State. However, it is a matter for the Council and each chairperson of each committee to determine what safeguards and other considerations are relevant and needed to ensure all rights are considered and balanced. Question 7. As the Improvement Board meetings agendas are not published, its meetings are not held in public, apart from 3 agenda items of the 3rd meeting, and few councillors attend the Cabinet meeting at which its key messages are reported to. How do the vast majority of Wirral councillors know what it's doing and have an input into its deliberations? The response is, the leaders of the 3 political groups attend each Improvement Board meeting and are provided with the opportunity to represent the views of their councillors. The outcomes of the meetings are reported by the key messages published after every board meeting, and group leaders are in a position to provide further details to their groups should the need arise. And the final question. Apart from a notice on an obscure page on its website, what publicity has Wirral Council undertaken to advise the Wirral public that they can inspect Wirral Council's accounts between the 15th of July and the 9th of August and the arrangements for doing so? And the response is, under the Accounts and Audit England Regulations 2011, the accounts and other documents have to be made available for public inspection. The Council has to give notice by advertisement, which appeared in the Wirral Globe 26th of June 2013 and on its website. In this instance, they may be found under the Annual Accounts section of the Council's website. The contents of the ad that are specified in the regulations. So that covers. Thank you very much, Mr. Grace, for your questions. Thank you very much indeed.